I bought this set of 5 hammers from Temu for $55.22 Australian. That included delivery to Brisbane, Australia, where I live. Very cheap hammers. Are they worth it? Hello, my name's Bob, and once again I'd like to welcome you to another episode on the White Dog Garage YouTube channel. You may have heard of Vevor. It's been making a bit of a hit in the YouTube world, the YouTube tool world these days. Temu is just like Vevor. It's another online marketplace based in China, selling heavily discounted tools, clothing, etc. These days China is the workshop to the world, and particularly for Australia. It's just up the road from us, a bit more than that, a few thousand kilometres up the Pacific Ocean. Shares the same time zone with part of Australia, and most of the tools that you buy in Australia these days, even the ones that come from the big American or Japanese companies, are made in China. So what did I get for my money? I got a 3-pound sledgehammer. I got a 16-ounce ball peen, 32-ounce ball peen, 32-ounce rubber mallet, and this is why I really bought them, a 3-pound cross peen. The relative cost at $55.22 for the 5 is $11.04.5. Looking around locally to see what I could buy these tools for, I come up with a sum of $160.90, so it's considerable saving. Now, the big priced one is the cross peen. The cheapest one I could find is $69. It's branded Milwaukee, probably made in China, but at $69 I guess you're paying for the name. So if I look at the 3-pound sledge, the 2 ball peens and the rubber hammer, looking at prices here in Brisbane, Australia, it works out as an average of $23 odd a hammer, leaving aside the more expensive cross peen. Even at $23 a hammer, $11 odd average across the Temu ones, you're certainly getting a much better deal. And I'll probably say at this stage, Temu's not giving these to me. I paid for them with my own money. I have no relationship with Temu other than we buy a few products from them. At $69 for the cross peen hammer, I'm way ahead. If that's all I keep, is this one for $55.22. But of course the big question is, are they any good? One of the things that I worried, but I was happy to take a chance, but one of the things that worried me was when they say a 3-pound sledge, here in Australia I expect a 3-pound sledge to have a 3-pound head and the handle is extra. It worried me that maybe in China they think a 3-pound sledge is 3 pounds from one end to the other. Well, I've checked the weights of the heads. They're all a little bit over actually, and certainly a 3-pound sledge has a 3-pound head, so I'm very happy with that. I've been using them on and off. I've actually had them for a couple of months. I've been using them on and off over that time, just checking out that they're worth the money, and I haven't been able to severely mark the face no matter what I've hit with them. One thing that tricked me in the beginning was that the ball peens, both ball peens, are coated with a plastic coating. So when I did a few practice hits, I looked at the face, and lo and behold, there's marks there. But when I looked at it closely, I thought, there's a coating there. And I went over to the wire wheel, and I took off the coating off the hammer face and off the ball face, and when I hit those there's no marks, so that's good. That was a bit tricky, that. I suppose it's a way of, instead of painting them, they're just plastic coating them, and it's cheap and efficient, I guess, to just dip it in the plastic coat. The main reason I bought the Temu set was to get my hands on a crossbeam hammer. This will be for the occasional bit of blacksmithing that I do. It would be remiss of me if I did not show you that hammer in action. So here I am, making a start on the project piece. Of course, now that I have a crossbeam hammer, I probably need to move on from using a piece of roller line as the anvil. Lots of material on YouTube featuring the range of anvils from Vevor, so maybe I should give them a look. They all come with fiberglass handles, and I don't have a problem with fiberglass. The handles are quite nice, they're quite nice to hold, etc. No real vibration comes through. I've not had many hammers over the years that have had fiberglass handles. I don't have a problem with fiberglass handles. I like wood because I'm always used to wood. I certainly don't like steel. I've assembled the hammers, or at least the loose hammers that I have in the workshop, and adding the Temu ones to the collection. I've got quite a few. Now, you probably think I have too many ball peens, but different weights. And it's important that the strength at which a hammer hits something depends on the weight of the head. So one like this hits a lot harder than one like this. If you only need a light tap, this is the one to choose, and if you need a heavy tap, this is the one that you go for. Nice long handle, good swing. However, the big problem is storage. I've been hanging these by their handles, and that's turned out to be a very inefficient way to do it when you have a lot of hammers. So I need to make a hammer rack, and that's what I'm going to do now. Always a keen recycler, out in the tent workshop I've gathered some scrap wood together to make the hammer rack. I'm using a piece of scrap pine board, 190mm or about 7.5 inches wide and 19mm or about 3/4 of an inch thick to make the shelf and back of the rack. I first cut this to an overall length of 565mm or about 22.25 inches long using my DIY track saw. Then I used the bandsaw to cut the board lengthways into two pieces, one 60mm or about 2 3/8 of an inch wide. This piece will form a shelf which will be screwed to the other piece, which becomes the back of the rack. Keen eyes will probably notice the black marks on the wood. These are burn marks signifying that this piece of scrap saw a lot of use over the years as a support for welding. An offcut of 12mm or just under 1/2 inch plywood will be used to form the ends of the rack, and again I use the bandsaw to cut these out. Off camera, I cut up an old broom handle which will be fixed parallel to and separated by a gap of 50mm or just under 2 inches from the shelf. Hammer handles will drop into this gap as they sit on the rack. Assembly involved gluing and screwing the components together, having first pre-drilled and countersunk the attaching shelf and ends. All done. Off camera, I'll give the rack a coat of paint before fixing it in place. I am fitting the hammer rack at the end of the bench here, so I start by removing the pegboard that some of the original hammers hung from. With that gone, the rack is screwed to the end of the bench and the hammers inserted. So there's a couple of things I want to cover before I finish up this video. First off, Temu hammers themselves. I've had the collection now for about 6 months. No problems have developed, there's been no defects, the hammer faces are still good. I use them reasonably regularly. I really like the grip on the handle. So anyhow, if you're inspired to go and buy a set, I'd say go ahead. They're good value, they work well, and I don't think you'd be sorry. But that's up to you, it's your money, not mine. The other thing that I want to talk about is the rack. Before I made this rack, I used to hang the hammers from pegs on the pegboard. Nothing wrong with that, except that you go and pull the hammer off the pegboard and every now and then the peg would come with it. It was a bit of an inconvenience, and I found myself over the years, I would select the hammer and I'd take it up the bench there and I'd use it, and I might take it somewhere else and I'd put it down, and then later on I'd wonder where I'd put it. Anyhow, at the end of the day I'd go around and find them all and put them back on the pegboard. What I found myself doing with the rack is that they're all sitting here. I can look down and I instantly see which hammer I want, and I pick it out and off I go and I use it. And what happens is that I'll come back, because it's so convenient, and drop it back in the rack. And I've found that I always know where my hammers are. They're in the rack if I'm not using them, and it's just so convenient and easy to get them out. And I don't know why I haven't built a rack or made a rack years ago. It is just so convenient. Anyhow, enough of that. Thank you very much for watching. White Dog Garage YouTube channel is about making things, renovating things, maintaining things, fixing things. If you like that sort of stuff and you haven't already subscribed, well, think about subscribing. It's easy. There's a subscribe bar down below. Just tick that. While you're there, ding the bell so that you'll get a notification from YouTube the next time a video airs on the White Dog Garage YouTube channel. Thank you very much again for watching, and I would love to talk to you in the next episode. Bye.